If you want the attention of a child or an adult, start with the words "once upon a time." All of us love stories. We listen differently when we're not being told instructions, facts, information. When we listen, like as children at any age in our lives, a certain part of our curiosity and our brain opens up to new possibility, to relaxation, to certain calm that maybe we remember from our childhoods. I think about all the stories that are in our lives, things that we're reading and consuming, other people's stories. And I also think about our stories that are being written now, that we're writing, you might say in partnership with God, a great author, or if you believe that, then on your own. I think as children, we write biographies. In fact, they're being written for us. Our parents are writing the story of their children once upon a time, and he and she and they. But there comes a certain point of maturation, a mandated moment where we have to take the pen and say, it's no longer appropriate for you to write my story. Now it's mine. Now it shifts to becoming an autobiography. And if we notice that we did that at a certain point, then we realize that we became adults. We took responsibility for the story, for our responses to what happens around us, and even to us. I remember a time when I took a group of teens down to Guatemala, to a small village that hadn't yet got electricity, except in small parts. And we sat outside. There were fires at night outside where we were cooking our food. And we sat with the elders of the community. And one of the things I asked the community, I said, so what's happening? What are you looking forward to? They said, electricity. And I said, why electricity in particular? And they said, because of television. Satellite television was coming, and you could see a couple of dishes already making their way into this otherwise impoverished village. I saw the same in the largest slum on the African continent, in Kibera, outside Nairobi. You'd see absolute abject poverty and a couple of dishes on the top of shacks. But what I thought at the time was that something was going to change, and I'm sure I haven't been back to that community in Guatemala, but I can imagine that what changed was the children used to sit at night. Their only form of entertainment was to listen to their parents and their grandparents tell their stories. But as soon as they got Nintendo, and as soon as they got all the artifacts of technology, all the things that pull us away from each other, they started to detract from those central stories in their own lives. Maybe what could be happening now is that we could shift from watching and watching and watching and listening with headphones on and glued to screens, other people's scripted stories, and maybe we could turn inward toward our own families, whether it's by Zoom because our parents or grandparents aren't with us, or it's just looking across the table and saying, I want to ask you about your life, or as grandparents or parents to say, I want to tell you something about my story that inspires me, might inspire you. I want to tell you about an experience I had in my childhood that's similar to yours or so different from yours. So maybe this second week of coronavirus self-quarantine could be dedicated to stories, our stories, to the inspiration that we can take and give to one another.